Spending $60 on a case for my Kindle Scribe is not something I would normally do, especially because at that price point, you can buy a really nice used Kindle or even get halfway towards a brand new Kindle Paperwhite. And for the Kindle Scribe now, it's been out for a year. There are a ton of lower cost case alternatives compared to the Amazon one, so it's really hard to justify the price of the official Scribe case. If you ask me, even though the Scribe case is so expensive, I actually think it is worth the price. And in today's video, I'm going to help you decide whether or not you should invest in a Kindle Scribe case. And if you're on the fence about it, I really hope this will break everything down for you. And I want to start by talking about why I bought a case in the first place. Now, if you own a Kindle Scribe, you already know how beautifully built this device is. They use really premium materials. It's all metal and it just feels so nice to use. But the one thing I really struggled with was carrying around the Scribe with me when I went around the house or even went out and about. I just didn't feel comfortable bringing my Scribe with me because it felt really fragile. Compared to a plastic Kindle, this thing just felt like it would break very easily and I would constantly stress about damaging it instead of using it. The closest comparison I can make is imagine having a physical notebook but without the front and back cover on it. Yeah, you can bring that notebook around with you and use it, but all those pages would be exposed and dangling everywhere. And again, you could use it that way, but it's going to get worn out a lot quicker. The Kindle Scribe is a very similar feeling. When you look at it, the Kindle Scribe is actually even thinner than a regular notebook, so it does feel a lot more fragile than a notebook. Then on top of that, you have the pen that is magnetically attached to the Kindle Scribe, and that's one more thing you got to keep track of. It just feels like a lot of work carrying this around, in my opinion. I just found myself leaving it on my desk in one place most of the time that I owned it. A few months ago when I bought my case for the Scribe, that entire experience changed. I just started using this device with me everywhere that I went. I no longer felt the sense of pressure of damaging my Scribe. I would just easily chuck it into my backpack and bring it with me to work, or just keep it in my backpack whenever I traveled, or use it around the house. It was no longer this fragile thing I had to worry about, and I really think the Scribe is meant to be this notebook-like device that you bring with you everywhere, so you have it with you at all times. And now that I have a case on it, I'm actually using it for its intended purpose. Next, I want to tell you my favorite features about this case, and I've got to say at a high level, Amazon did an amazing job designing this case to make it as functional as possible. Now, before diving too deep into my favorite features of the case, I do want to share a special announcement. If you're watching this video right now in December, as I'm publishing it, you are able to join my 30-day reading challenge that I'm hosting in January. For the month of January, I want to read the book Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. If you watch my videos, there's a good chance you've heard of Ali. He is one of my favorite YouTubers and an expert when it comes to productivity. The book is being published at the end of December, so it is a perfect book to start off the new year. And instead of reading it by myself, I really want to build a community of people who want to read the book together. If you're trying to read more books next year, this is a great way to have some extra accountability for the month of January. Every single day, I'm going to send you an email checking in with you with my notes on the book. We're going to have discussions and conversations about the book with the whole community. So it's going to be a great time and a lot of fun. If being part of the challenge sounds interesting to you, it's completely free to join. I'll leave a link down below with all the details. All right, going back to the Kindle Scribe case, the first feature that I really love about this case is the pen holder. Now, normally you don't need a holder for the pen. You can just attach it magnetically to the side of the Kindle Scribe, similar to an Apple Pencil in an iPad. It actually works very well. There's no syncing or pairing you have to do. It's automatically connected via the magnetic connection, and this does work. However, I do find that when I put it in my backpack or move it around the house even, that magnetic connection doesn't always hold strong. My pen often ends up somewhere in my bag and I have to find it after the fact. Especially if you're traveling, having that pen holder built into the case ensures the pen is not going anywhere. I just feel a lot more peace of mind when I put it in the pen holder. It's actually a very secure grip. It doesn't come out very easily at all. Once you put it in this holder, you know it's not going anywhere. The second feature that I really enjoy is the flaps on the case that you can fold up and turn into a stand. There are two different positions you can put your Scribe in while having the Kindle Scribe case. The first is like this propped up position on your desk. You just fold it up and you have it elevated a little bit. This is great for referencing documents or even doing some light note-taking on the side of your computer, for example. It just kind of elevates the whole thing a little bit so you have a better viewing angle. The second way you can use the flaps is by having the Kindle Scribe stand up vertically. Now, having a big screen is actually one of the biggest selling features of the Scribe, and normally I don't like reading on the Scribe because it's too big of a screen in my opinion, but with the case, I can have it stand up vertically, and I've been using this now every single morning for my morning prayers. I just have it propped up on the table, standing up straight, and I have that PDF loaded onto the screen, and it works really well. I don't have to hold the Scribe anymore. It's just standing there on its own with the case. Now, my third favorite feature of the Scribe case is the build quality of the case itself. The one that I have is made of fabric, and I've owned fabric Kindle cases before, and I really do enjoy the way it's made. Holding the fabric case just feels really nice and grippy. Without the case, the Kindle Scribe just feels a bit too slippery in your hands. The case adds a good amount of grippiness and secureness to your hands. You don't feel like you're going to drop this thing when you're holding the case. I also really like how the inside of the flap is made of this microfiber lining for a soft finish. So the whole thing is just very nicely constructed. Now, I do have other fabric cases, and over time, I've noticed that the threads around the edges tend to come loose, and I haven't had that happen with my Scribe yet, but I do think over time, the same thing will probably come to my Scribe case as well. Now, even though all those features are things I really love about the case, there are a few complaints I have about this case as well. And the first one being, it took me a long time to really learn and get used to the flap design of the case. Now, I don't know if it's just my personal muscle memory of using cases in the past where you fold the flaps into each other and then turn it into a stand that way, but on the Kindle Scribe case, you don't actually do that. The design is a bit different than you're used to, and I found that to be incredibly annoying for my personal use. Now that I think about it, when I first bought my Scribe case, there was a little sticker on the case that instructed you how to fold it up and use it properly. And I remember thinking to myself, why there's a sticker there? These things tend to be pretty obvious, so why are they making it a special point to put a sticker on the case so you know how to do it? And now that I've been using it for a few months, I totally get why they did it. So it can't just be me. I'm sure that this muscle memory thing that I have with, or the natural instinct that you have to fold the case into each other is something that a lot of people experience. But the way you actually do it is kind of flip that first flap on the back of the Scribe case and then slide it against the edge, and the magnet will grab hold of it and it kind of stays up that way. There's not much folding involved at all, so it's not very intuitive if you ask me. The second complaint I have about the case is that the Kindle Scribe is not really attached to the case at all. In fact, the whole Scribe is just sitting on the case magnetically, and if you really wanted to, you can just pop it right out without much resistance at all. If you're used to buying cases for any other device that you might own, you know you have to pop the case in pretty tightly and the device won't come out very easily. But with the Scribe, it's literally just sitting on there, and there's not much security if you put the device upside down, for example. And I'm wondering if this was an intentional choice or not, because maybe Amazon thinks that people will want to remove the Scribe from the case regularly to hold it or something like that. But for me, I just want the Scribe to be permanently in the case, and having it so loose inside the case is not a good feeling. I've had this thing fall off the case by mistake. If I'm moving around in my hand and the case comes loose, it just falls right out without much resistance. Overall, I do find that the official Amazon Scribe case is well worth the investment. Yeah, there are a few things I wish they would improve, but the benefits that I've gained from having the case far outweigh those small annoyances. Now, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about using a Kindle Scribe and some of the tips and tricks that you might find useful while using it, I have a whole video dedicated to that. Link for that on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.